Latif. I work as the innovation specialist within the life sciences team within Department for International Trade. And from the challenge of trying to make the UK a global investment hub, that's DIT, stock in trade. That's what we're there to try to do, is to try and help companies undertake and trade overseas, help drive companies to make the UK the right place to, global companies to make the UK the right place to invest, particularly when you have very mobile investment decisions, but also to try and look at how UK footprint companies, and particularly we're seeing it more so now, UK early stage companies attract overseas venture capital or other forms of investment into those companies. And it's been my background. I started off at Technology Strategy Board / Innovate UK, and I went to work for Cancer Research UK. So I've been able to sort of see this journey of how early stage science gets translated into a commercial proposition, but then recently sort of really understanding how do you bring these products to market. And I think when we're talking about innovation and the journey for a lot of the companies and products and services that have been developed, particularly in the digital world, you've really got to understand the nature of the market in which you're selling. So health is a global challenge. Certainly sitting within DIT, you look at the global markets out there, and you can segment them out. There are the mature markets such as Europe and the US, where actually they've been established. They are what, for want of a better phrase, is developed nation healthcare systems. Their requirements, their needs for the sorts of products and services that they're looking for are very different from what you're seeing in emerging markets such as China or Latin America. But that said, a lot of the within those markets, you're seeing because the way that the systems work there, an emerging middle class that are driving a private healthcare system which is demanding developed nation healthcare type solutions, healthcare type innovations. And we do have requests from posts out in China or in Latin America where they say, actually we've been contacted by some private clinics that are looking for very advanced either therapies or very advanced devices or very advanced diagnostic technologies, which is not something that you would see going into the mass market. So there's within this realm of trying to sell products and services overseas, you see a very broad spectrum of demand out there for potential products. And the UK has the track record, it has a scientific base of being able to develop and deploy them. And the NHS still has a strong role to play when companies in China are looking to, or organisations in China are looking to buy solutions. One of the first questions they ask is, has anybody used this within the NHS? Have you had sales in the NHS that then allows you to help de-risk the proposition? But we're here to talk about innovation, and actually when you look at the healthcare challenges, you've got an emerging market globally, but actually cash is tight. Cash is tight wherever you go, whether it's here in the developed markets, where you've got an NHS system which is busting at the seams. You've got an American system where actually the insurers are even asking questions as to what they're willing to pay for, and these questions are emerging in other markets and in the developing markets as well. And so what you're looking for is particularly the request is for disruptive innovation, disruptive solutions. But you're selling into a very conservative market, and that conservative market has an overwhelming request for evidence. So not just with regards to have you gained regulatory approval, which in itself is a sizable hurdle, but also what difference has this made to a health economy? What cost savings have you made? What long-term savings have you made in managing, say, cancer patients? And it is one of these things where it becomes very difficult for companies that are developing solutions, because if you're a startup, relatively small scale, you're being asked, and say for example you're in the area of early cancer diagnosis, how do you gather the right level of information that means that you're able to develop a product that can diagnose cancer early enough and show that it has an impact when the journey for cancer patients could be 5 years or 7 years or 10 years long when they're not being diagnosed early. So how do you gather that evidence base? How do you look at creating that stack of data that means that it'll help you not just convince the regulators, but also convince the people that are paying for this stuff that what you're providing is better than what's out there currently. And I think that is one of the challenges that we face. But actually, it's not just something that's unique to the UK. A lot of health economies around the world are looking at this, and it's something that I think really sort of presents an opportunity for foreign direct investment to come into the UK and provide not just the companies with access to cash, but what they're looking for is access to markets or access to people who understand those healthcare systems in China, in India, in South America. Because it's not just about having being able to sell products; it's being able to understand what the user experience is. And as Kumar said earlier, it's about services rather than just products. And I think this is where we're seeing the collision between individual products being embedded into a service and how that service is improving rather than just selling individual products itself. So there is a global demand for innovative solutions out there. There are global opportunities there, and a lot of overseas investment could potentially help. You have to balance that with regards to how do you develop and deliver these collaborations, but also the intellectual property as well, because we have come for numerous examples of where companies have gone into particular markets and seen their intellectual property ripped apart. So that is part of the challenge, but I think it also presents an opportunity as well. That's me.
Okay. So thank you. So we.